everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, January 16th, 2022. Sorry, Chance, your mild-mannered PTSD is just not welcome here. Everybody knows only perfect people can be parents. You have to be perfect, a perfect person, in order to be a perfect parent. Chance just isn't perfect enough. Case closed. Give the baby to Devon. I felt so bad for Chance this week when he was bumping into Chelsea at the coffee house, and they were catching up and talking about their kids, and Chance realized that he has no pictures of Dominic on his phone. I mean, right there, no pictures on the phone. Clearly, he's a bad parent. That's the thing that parents do. It should be in the contract. But if we've learned anything lately, it's contracts are meaningless. Could be the theme of the show, theme of the week. Contracts, they are meaningless. Oh, Chance is trying to get there. He's trying to tune in to fatherhood, but it's kind of hard to do when Chance is still very much tuned into his own trauma. There was a very interesting, almost metaphysical moment on the show early in the week between Devon, Chance, and Dominic. Dominic was crying, and Chance couldn't hear it because he was so lost in his own thoughts. But Devon could hear it in a dream. I think that Y&R, by showing us that, kind of wants us to feel like there's something, I don't know, beyond biology going on there, that Devon has a bond with Dominic that goes beyond the physicality, and it's a bond that no matter how many chugga-chews Chance can come up with, he just doesn't share that bond, that particular bond, in the same way. But, I mean, come on, kids need different people in their life, different types of examples, different figures who can fill different roles for them. And I think that Chance's role in Dominic's life is no less important, no less special than Devon's role would be. It's just different. And in the messiness of it all, I think it's probably just very hard to realize logically, if not emotionally, that there is room for both Chance and Devon in Dominic's life. But I guess Devon is just feeling too high and mighty for any of that. I'm kind of enjoying Devon's downfall. I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of like seeing Devon fall from grace. It's an interesting nuance considering where his character has been in the past year. I mean, if Devon is totally right, then that means that everybody else has to be wrong, which now gives Devon the right to judge Chance's parenting skills, and it gives Devon the right to judge Lily's relationship with Billy, and it gives him the right to judge anyone who he sees fit to judge. Amanda drew up the papers, and together she and Devon walked the papers, filing for shared custody, right over to the Chance Manch. But Chance wasn't there, and I thought that was such an interesting choice and such an awkward moment. Like, Devon and Amanda showing up at the door, Abby getting the vibes that Devon was about to drop something on her, and then insisting that Chance needed to be home when they talked, so everybody's just sitting there awkwardly waiting for Chance to get home to have whatever discussion that Devon was about to approach. And then when Chance did get home and Devon did start to explain himself, wow. The look on Abby and Chance's faces was pure horror. It's just horror that he's doing this. Why would he be doing this? And next week she's going to be exploding on him, and I can't wait. It's bad, but it's good, you know? Although I know many of you only feel the bad right now. I can pretty much bet you that if you're enraged by Devon's actions, you're in the vast majority with Y&R fans. And I can also pretty much bet that Brighton James is taking a beating from the fans right now. I really would not want to be Brighton James right now, because this is all such a bad look on Devon's character, and I just know that none of the fans are happy with him. He's hearing it. Even though it's not his fault. He's doing his job. He's just doing his job. So in the spirit of keeping things in perspective, and even though I don't agree with Devon's decision here, I gotta give Brighton James some love. I really am appreciating how well he is playing Devon's struggle, because to me, Devon looks tired. Devon looks weary. And Devon kind of looks like someone who doesn't even 100% buy his own story. His voice is weak when he's talking about all of this. His eyes are looking sleepy. His head is kind of hanging lower than normal. He sort of seems to be looking down more. I think he knows deep down that it's not right. I think he knows deep down he might be doing what he wants, but that it's not right for Dominic. But I don't know. It might take him some time to see that. In the meantime, though, I bet that Brighton is not thrilled with being right in the middle of such a controversial storyline. But I just want to make sure to say, I think that Brighton has really embraced this task, and I think he deserves some credit for taking this whole thing head on. Congratulations on your retirement, Michael Baldwin. Yes! What a career you have had. I just loved the Michael Baldwin / Christian Leblanc tribute show. There were so many Michael memories, and it would have been impossible even to capture them all, or to capture the essence of everything that this character has gone through over the course of 30 years. But I think with Christian Leblanc's help, Y&R did a great job of selecting which clips got to be played. And I think they did a good job also of making the current day story that framed those flashbacks very fun and very relevant too. Lauren mentioning how Michael is secretly a talented artist, sketching away at his sketch pad at the dining room table. And now we know that this is a nod to Christian Leblanc's artistic talents. And I thought that was very fun and very cool. And overall, I found this episode to be a really wonderful tribute to both the character and the actor in that way. I thought it fitting that the majority of the memories seemed to be sort of centered around Christine. It seemed like the biggest part of the show had to do with Michael and Christine's relationship, both good and bad. From the sexual harassment when she went to work for him, to the wall tunneling, to him getting out of jail and begging her to help him get his law license back, to them finally deciding to become law partners and her signing the papers that made it so. I think both Michael and Christine had a lot to bring to the table back in those days, and they still do. It was wonderful to see them together, reminiscing a little bit. And I think that both Michael and Christine looked great in those scenes, too. I mean, I'm looking back at all of their 90s hairstyles, and oh my goodness, there was some hair. There was some hair in those flashbacks. Gosh. I also really liked Michael's scenes with Victor, too, because I had almost kind of forgotten that Victor and Michael were as intertwined as they were. But then as soon as the flashbacks started, I remembered how Michael was once one of Victor's most loyal minions. And at some point, he was also one of Victor's biggest betrayers, too. We had that scene of Victor firing him. But yeah, I liked what bringing Victor into that current day story brought to the picture, too, because Victor has recently retired. And so Victor knows a thing or two about retirement. And he was happy to give his advice and his perspective. But nothing for me matched the pure entertainment value of Lauren bringing in the Baldwin family to weigh in on Michael's decision. There's just so much to be said about the Baldwins. There is gold in them their hills. Just seeing them all together was hands down the highlight of my entire week. What a totally wonderful bunch of nutcases they are. Bunch of nutcases. Plus Lauren. But that's what makes it beautiful. There's a bunch of nutcases and then plus Lauren. Totally elegant, totally classy. Oh, that flashback of Michael and Lauren's first kiss. I don't think we saw that during the classics. I don't think I had seen that in a very long time. And I do remember, even to this day, I do have a memory of feeling how totally unexpected the pairing of Michael and Lauren was and how hot that made it. It was hot. Michael and Lauren were hot and are hot still today. I mean, even in flashbacks and even in current day, I'm like, gosh, these two are on fire. But yet there's such a deep love there. We saw some clips from their wedding and Michael finding out that he was going to be a father after knowing his experiences with his own father. There's just so much richness and reality, but also that kookiness with the Baldwin family. It just isn't being tapped nearly enough. But I'll take what I can get. Beggars can't be choosers. And I think Y&R did a wonderful job with this celebration. I'm going to be looking forward to finding out what's next for Michael Baldwin, because he did at the end of the episode decide he was going to retire so that he could spend some more time smooching it up on Lauren, and that's great. But I think he is going to, need something to bring him onto our screens more often. I mean, we were able to bring him in when we needed some lawyering, some district attorneying, but if we're turning that part of his character off, I certainly hope we're going to turn on a new part of his character. Will he go work for Victor at Newman Media as Victor offered him? I mean, it seems like maybe it might be a step down for his career, but I sure would love to see Michael stacking up against Victor and Adam and Billy. Shocking exit. Richard Burgi out as Ashland Locke. The news of this hit right after I had recorded last week's Y&R Chat, so I didn't get a chance to talk about it last week, so I'm dying to talk about it now, because let me tell you, I was very angry on Sunday. When I first saw this news, I was angry. I was angry Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then I think midweek, Richard Burgi did an interview that came out, and he explained that the reason he was let go from Y&R is because he had inadvertently violated the show's COVID quarantine policy. So I guess he got COVID, and then he did a self-quarantine for 5 days, which is what the CDC recommends. But apparently Y&R had a 10-day quarantine policy, and Richard didn't realize that. He said he took 2 negative tests during that time, so he didn't spread it to anyone else, but the show let him go anyway. What a bummer. What a bummer. I'm bummed. I mean, I really thought that Richard Burgi was so great. I thought he was so great that I actually took the time to get his name right. So I'm disappointed. I really thought that he brought a lot to the character. He brought a lot to the show, and he will be missed. we do have a recast. And the recast is Robert Newman. Robert Newman will be now playing Ashland Locke. Now, Robert Newman is best known as Joshua Lewis from Guiding Light. So you would probably recognize his face. You would definitely recognize his face when paired with Reva. He is Josh of Josh and Reva. Now, I did not watch Guiding Light, but his face and, you know, he's physically familiar to me from my limited awareness of flipping through the channels and seeing Guiding Light. I didn't watch it regularly, so I feel that I will recognize him, but I don't have any opinion of him that will inform, you know, me being able to get used to him as a new Ashland Locke. I'm sure this is amazing for Guiding Light fans, though. I think Guiding Light was a CBS soap. So I'm sure that the network is very happy with the possibility that it will draw some of those Guiding Light fans into Y&R. Almost like they knew what they were doing there. Y&R is just raining the Nick love down onto us. Nick got the Christmas episode, he got the birthday party episode this week, and I sure hope that this doesn't mean that Joshua Morrow is leaving the show soon too, or something. It's just so much Nick love, I'm suspicious of it. My Nick love is at an all-time high. I honestly don't think I have ever loved Nick as much as I love him right now. He is cute, he is funny, he is charming, and I got the sense that, you know, the actor is really so loved on the set that in those birthday party scenes, everybody really felt like they were a family, and that was really reading on screen. I feel like I got a sense that this was a family and that the actors feel like they are family too. Like the dad jokes and the old man jokes and the gentle ribbing, it all felt very real. I loved it. It was just fun and comfortable. I loved the gifts. I loved the underground wine bottle that Noah gave to Nick. Oh, the underground. We could just go ahead and totally forget about the underground forever, as far as I'm concerned. The roof collapsed, Nick rebuilt it, and then it burned to the ground. I think that's all that needs to be said. Leave it there forever in the ground. But I also really loved the 90s jazz album cover that was on the record that Moses gave to Nick. Like, I kept thinking, well, that is an awesome album cover right there. I think Noah needs to take note of that. That was a cool album cover. The thing that Noah came up for Tessa, not cool. That one was not cool. Oh, and then Sharon finding that 90s plaid shirt from the vintage store in mint condition, probably Nick's from 30 years ago. She knows him so well. So well. After all these years. And you know what? It occurred to me this week while I was watching those Nick and Sharon scenes that I don't really even need Nick and Sharon to get back together romantically, because frankly, even having a focus on the friendship between them is magic enough. This week, Victoria accused Adam of being ruthless, but I wonder, who is really the more ruthless of Victor's children, Victoria or Adam? So I thought, let's let that be a poll question for the week. Who is more ruthless, Victoria or Adam? Go to yrchat.com. Let me know which of Victor's children you think is more like him. I mean, shoot, the definition of ruthless is someone who does not show compassion, does not show pity, and I'm not really even sure if Adam fits the bill on that one. Certainly not right now. And while Victoria is not exactly compassionless, I think I'm gonna vote Victoria is more ruthless. I think Victoria is Victor Newman's daughter, by Victor's own mouth this week. No doubt about that. Jill has agreed to sell ChanceCom to Victoria, and now Victoria has the celebratory shoes to match. Oh, that was a nice girl power moment right there, courtesy of Nikki. You know, women in power. Forget the cigars. That's a man's game. Women are playing their own game, and we like shoes. Girls get shoes to celebrate. I like that. That felt good. I liked that Nikki had that idea. So, ChanceCom goes to Victoria. That's one media company down and one to go. And by that, I mean, I wish that both ChanceCom and Newman Media would burn to the ground right along with the underground so that we could get back to making perfume and lipstick. You know, what the show is founded on. Cosmetics. I ain't buying the media. I don't want to slather media all over my lips. Oh. But Victoria gets ChanceCom, hooray. And now Victoria also has her sights set on acquiring Newman Media. So she pitches Victor the idea. And for a moment, Victor was very, very proud of her. It was a twisted but wonderful moment. But then he did turn her down. Victor is not going to sell Newman Media because that would put Adam out of a job, and that would mean hurting Adam. And Victor does not want to hurt Adam. Victor does not want Adam to feel abandoned. We saw that flashback of Victor explaining that he has a desire to help his son. He wants to give Adam the chance to prove himself and to build something. But I don't know, Victoria was starting to argue to Victor that Adam doesn't deserve this chance. He was handed this position and that he is just going to blow it sooner or later. Victoria says, well, Adam almost got had by Billy. You know, Billy almost had him, and that would have caused a total disaster for Newman Media. Billy would have totally destroyed Newman Media if it weren't for her, and that whole company would have been in shambles, and it all would have been Adam's fault. But Victoria was not exactly honest with Victor about how the whole thing with Billy went down, and that she was going to try to overthrow them before she made the offer to buy them. Newman Media in shambles is exactly what she would like. That's really probably a preferred strategy for her. Destroy Newman Media so that she can say, I told you so, when it comes to Adam, and then she can buy it up and incorporate it into her company. What bothers me, though, is that Victoria seemed to really get into Victor's head about the whole Adam thing, and Victor almost seemed to be questioning Adam's focus. Like, Victor told Adam that he's going to be taking a more active role at the company now, which definitely sends the message that Victor's trust and faith in Adam has been compromised. But don't you think that Victor is kind of overreacting? Adam didn't do anything, and there's no proof that Adam was going to do anything. I think nevertheless Victoria is going to succeed here. I absolutely think that Victoria is going to use ChanceCom to, or what she'll call it, whatever she's going to call it, but she's going to use the newly acquired media company to publish some kind of juicy story, probably about Adam and Sally, and it's going to bring shame on Newman Media, and that probably will bring down the fashion platform, just like Chloe has been warning them all about. I gotta give Sally Spectra some points for being clever, because Chelsea and Chloe booked her on a business trip to New York to get her out of the way. And Sally said, Adam, wanna come with me? That is hilarious. All of that energy Chelsea and Chloe spent cooking up a way to put Sally in her place and to tear her away from Adam. And in about 30 seconds, Sally was ready to upend their whole plan. That's brilliant. I loved it. But too bad it didn't work. It didn't work. Adam politely declined Sally's invitation in front of Chelsea. Of course, Chelsea didn't exactly know what Sally had asked, but the fact that Chelsea saw Adam turning Sally down on something gave Chelsea a little shred of hope that things could still be worked out between them. She got Adam to agree to have a drink with her, you know, to discuss Connor. Connor, definitely Connor. It's all about Connor. And Adam was also so distraught over the conversation that he had with Victor and feeling like Victor's faith in him was shaken that he seemed to actually be open to talking to Chelsea about his personal life and about his ever-evolving family issues, which Chelsea knows all about. I mean, Chelsea's been involved in all of that for years at this point. And as exciting as it is to be with and around someone new, there is also something very comforting about being with and around someone who knows you and knows your situation and knows your family and knows your story. Like, that's a whole nother level of intimacy that can really only be bought through time and experience, and Chelsea's got that. Chelsea's got that time and that experience with Adam, and it seemed like Adam wanted to lean on her a little bit, and I didn't hate it. So that felt like progress. But then Chelsea had to push it. She had to make her pitch to Adam, telling him that he should just give their relationship one more last chance. They made a commitment to each other and they need to follow through on it. She's trying to prove to him. And, Adam had just had all of the trying to let Chelsea down easy that he could handle, and it wasn't working. So Adam was blunt with her. He didn't want there to be any misunderstanding between them. He told her, it is not happening. It is not happening. And then later, Chelsea overheard Adam telling Chance that he had no feelings left for her at all, which I don't think is necessarily true. I kind of think that Adam just has himself on lock. Adam's emotions are on lockdown, especially now. Victor told him a couple of weeks ago that his love life is toxic. And so I think that Adam is just right now doubling down on trying to impress Pops, which means pushing everything else away. But all Chelsea felt was that rejection. So she goes home and she pours herself a glass of vodka and she takes one drink of the glass, then throws that glass at the fireplace. How very soapy. I mean, didn't we all see it coming the second she picked up the glass? And the way they were filming her, I was like, oh, well, that glass is going to the fireplace. Ooh, all that wasted liquor. Chelsea could have taken a page from the Book of Sally and invited good guy Ray over to the penthouse to finish that bottle of vodka with some caviar and some Hitchcock on a small laptop screen. Oh, the more that Y&R is trying to show us how happy Ray and Sharon are, the more ominous it starts to look for me. Oh, I'm going to enjoy it while it's here, because it also seems at the same time like Ray is just starting to show some signs of maybe feeling like an outsider among Sharon's family, maybe also desperate to get some alone time with Sharon, and all the while, Chelsea, he's got some sympathy for her. Chelsea's an outsider too. Chelsea is going to need someone to lean on who will tell her exactly what she wants to hear, that Adam is no good for her anyway. Have we hit the part of the show where Jason Thompson is off on Christmas vacation or something? Is that what this is? Because Billy's in Chicago making nice with Jill, and Lily's just kind of stuck running around Genoa City trying to play peacemaker for him before he gets back. I don't know if you guys felt this way, but that part of the show was so tedious to me this week. Lily was so tedious to me this week. I mean, do the writers think that we can't bear to go 1 week without seeing Billy, so we all just have to spend our time watching Lily talk about Billy? Because I really would have rather seen some scenes that were about and with characters who are actually around. Faith and Moses come to mind. Like, give them a week-long story arc. Why not? But no. It was just long scene after long scene of Lily telling everybody to take it easy on Billy and reminding everyone that there is a truce. Okay. Also, I felt kind of let down by the Lily and Adam scene. Like, it was fine, but it just didn't really amount to much to me. I didn't feel the emotional punch that I think I was supposed to. And I don't know, maybe if we would have spent more time with Lily and Adam and less time on Lily and Ashland. I mean, we had 2 episodes of Lily talking to Ashland about Billy. Who cares what Ashland thinks about Billy? Ashland has done absolutely nothing since we got back from Tuscany. He had nothing to do with the plan to take Billy down. All he did was give his blessing to Victor and Adam to move forward with the action. That's it. But okay, there's a truce. Good to know. Thanks for the flowers. I think ultimately I'm just trying to suppress my grumpiness over losing Richard Burgi. I'm still working through it. I hope nobody files a motion to have shared custody of my daughter because I'm so distraught over it all. But also, for the past 2 weeks, you guys, I've started watching The Bold and the Beautiful again. And I have to tell you, I am totally impressed by how efficient and effective The Bold and the Beautiful is right now. Like, it's a shorter soap. They have 30 minutes. So, they have an A plot and a B plot. And on any given day, you are going to see A and B. So, the show moves. There's no throwing in a C plot or a D plot. They're just telling 2 stories and telling them well. And I just really think that Y&R needs to take note of this. Because it's just so weird watching Bold and the Beautiful and going, oh, this is good. They're doing this well. And then coming back to Y&R and realizing that at any given time, Y&R has got plots going from A to J. And plot A's taken too long, plot B's gone by too fast, plot C changed midstream, and now they're waiting to see how viewers are going to respond to plot D before they move forward with it. And meanwhile, they're laying the groundwork, laying little seeds for plot E. It's just totally all over the map. And I will also be so bold as to say, I kind of think that Y&R's cast has gotten too large. Ooh, sorry, but I gotta say it. I mean, it looks like Bold and the Beautiful is doing wonders with what I'm counting at about a dozen characters. They're working with about a dozen characters on a regular basis. And now, coming back, I counted in my head Y&R. One night, I'm trying to fall asleep. I'm doing, instead of counting sheep, I was counting the active cast of Y&R. And now, not even counting recurring characters like Tracy, Ashley, the Baldwin, not even counting those guys. I counted like 26 active characters on Y&R who are rolling in and out on a weekly basis, but now, or bi-weekly. But you know, now, granted, it's a bigger show. Y&R is 60 minutes versus 30. But honestly, I would rather see fewer people and then get more focus on the people that we do have. Because, for instance, at this point, I have totally lost momentum on the excitement of the Noah recast. I was so into it at first, but now I'm having trouble mustering up the energy to really even care about 8 weeks of Noah making eyes at Tessa. Nothing but longing looks at Tessa. That is not a story. Another example, Faith and Moses are adorable, but they have no story. Seeing the Baldwins this week, I think, also kind of fueled some of this, because what I'd really like to just see on Y&R is 4 full families. 4 full families. The Newmans, the Abbotts, the Winters, the Baldwins. There's plenty to work with right there. 4 families. 4 family homes. Rotate in and out. 2 villains to challenge the families. Give them like 3 companies to work with. Newman Enterprises, Jabot, Fenmore's. That's it. That's all we need. Toss in a couple restaurants, a hospital, a law office. Done. In 60 minutes, tell 4 stories of the 4 families and tell those stories well. Stop worrying about the ratings and the demographics and changing stuff midstream based on how the viewers respond to it all. Look, if the show is good, the ratings will happen naturally. It's just so weird going from watching Y&R and only watching Y&R for so long. I mean, it's been years since I really paid attention to Bold and the Beautiful at this point, but like going from watching Y&R alone and to kind of being used to getting dragged around on these plots, to seeing how well Bold and the Beautiful has mastered the game, I really think that Y&R could use a shakeup because its sister soap is outshining it. I have to admit, I did not see that plot twist coming. Said absolutely nobody ever. No, that's not true. Amanda said it. She said, I have to admit, I did not see that plot twist coming, but she was talking to Phyllis when they were reading the script that Becky had provided them for her escape club fantasy. I think the plot twist that was that she was going to hit the ex-lover with her car. Amanda said, I did not see that plot twist coming. But Daisy, Tina, Henry, Tanya, Victoria, Sue W., and Diana, you guys all saw it coming, and you saw that it was Amanda. Congratulations, you got it right. Oh, I like this line for the week. Who said it? We have attained a rare state of equilibrium. We have attained a rare state of equilibrium. Who said it? If you think you know, go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, you will get your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. Oh, let's talk about this Ashland Locke recast situation. Henry says Robert Newman will be cast as the new Ashland Locke in February. I was a huge Guiding Light fan as he portrayed the character of Josh Lewis. It will be difficult for me to accept him in this new role. To me, he will still be Josh Lewis for a while, but I do believe he will make an excellent Ashland Locke. Good, I'm glad to hear that. Sherrod says, I love Robert Newman. Him and Kim Zimmer as Josh and Reva on Guiding Light is one of my all-time favorite soap opera couples. I can see him as Ashland Locke because now the ruthless side of the character is about to come out. Oh, Sherrod. So, Sherrod and Henry, is Robert, so was Josh a villainous character? I mean, he's probably complex, right? But did he have a ruthless side on Guiding Light? Well, that sounds hopeful. Michelle says, I'm also a Guiding Light fan since 1979. Robert Newman is known for being an ultimate professional. I'm so happy to have him be back in front of his CBS fans. Yeah, Michelle, and I can just bet you that that's exactly what the Y&R executives were thinking. Who's going to draw us some new viewers? That's what it's about at the end of the day. Victoria says Richard Burgi was great today. He is so measured and generous in his acting. I will miss him. I'm sure I'll like the new actor, but Y&R is losing the special way he portrays Ashland. Yeah. Sue W. says, Richard Burgi has been effortlessly on point as Ashland, the Enigma, since day one. And make no mistake, I'm a huge fan. Yet, somehow, I'm inexplicably excited about new life coming to the character. So far, Ashland has dodged every bullet, including his faked or not cancer. It's time for him to pay the piper, and I'm ready to see it all shake out past the smooth haughtiness he's put on so far. Clearly, Richard Burgi could deliver what's to come, but that's not to be. While I'm not familiar with the recast actor, I do feel weirdly upbeat about him, even as I'm sorry for Richard Burgi's departure. And so it goes. But I'm looking forward to Ashland's questionable persona still unfolding. Lord knows we need some respite from what's looking to be an all-the-time drama. I feel similarly, Sue W. I do feel like I feel the feelings of being upset about Richard Burgi. And I just wonder, could they have done anything to keep him? But at the same time, I do feel like Robert Newman is going to be a good cast. I mean, just looking at him, I feel like, all right. I feel upbeat about it. I'm totally feeling open to the new cast. Not happy to lose Richard, but I'm not allowing that to affect how I feel about the recast, that's for sure. Sandra says the only reason I won't be sad about the amazingly talented, easy on the eyes Richard Burgi leaving is if the character's villainous bad side is about to emerge. I would have hated to be angry with Mr. Burgi's version of Ashland. I wonder. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that this is necessarily going to signal any kind of character shift. I mean, they may very well continue to put him, into the docile, supportive of Victoria role. We just don't know. Sherrod says the character was billed as the Loch Ness Monster. So far, he's been a little pussycat. Tara was more ruthless than Ashland. The other side has to rear its ugly head, or what was the point? Yeah, I mean, I mean, we've been saying that for so long. And it's just so ironic because we had just hit this point where Richard Burgi had signed his one-year contract. So we thought maybe that Y&R was pausing on Ashland's story and whether or not he was faking and, not really giving us a whole lot from him. And we were kind of theorizing that maybe it was because they were still working out the details of his contract. Well, he got his contract, and we all started to then theorize that we were getting ready to see his character do something. And now this. I just hope that however it shakes out, Ashland decides, whether it's good or bad, I just want to see him do something. I think his character has not really been tapped within the last couple of months. And again, that might just be a lag with the contracts, but they've got to get in there and give us a twist. Daisy says, I think there will be a big twist when it's revealed that Ashland was never sick. He has been planning to take over Newman Enterprises all along. Right now, he thinks he's duped everyone, but Victor makes such a big deal about knowing what an adversary is planning that it's likely he already knows what Ashland is up to, which is making Victoria believe that she's a great CEO, especially with acquiring companies that will expand Newman Locke. Yeah, you could be right, Daisy, that, it is a little bit ironic that Victoria made such a big deal about how Adam might have gotten duped by Billy. Well, what if it's her getting duped by Ashland all along? Big time. Yeah, that could be a twist on it too. Well, how about this from Diana, who says, last week, Allie, you were mentioning, do we know why Billy dislikes, that we know why Billy dislikes Adam, but we don't know why Adam dislikes Billy. Well, it appears that we got the answer this week. Lily said, and there it is, when she was talking to Adam after Adam said, why does Billy think his growth is superior to others? Adam has shown tremendous growth in his character, and Billy doesn't acknowledge it. That is a very valid reason for one person to dislike another. It would make anyone angry. Having said that, I think Adam doesn't really have it out for Billy. He just wants to appease his father, who really does despise Billy. Oh yeah, Diana, you're right. Maybe I just was missing the emotion of that scene. I mean, I actually oddly went back and rewound that. I watched that twice where Lily said, and there it is. and I had to back it up because I had to listen to it twice because I felt like that moment was supposed to make something make sense to me, and I wasn't getting it. And I said, well, what is she saying there? I backed it up and watched it again and still didn't get it. So I'm glad that you're helping me see it here. That, you know, Adam is saying, why does Billy think his growth is superior to others? So it's that Adam is someone who has actually really tried to grow, really tried to be better, and yet Billy won't acknowledge it. And so therefore the feud continues, and I'm sure it's an endless, it has to be exhausting on Adam to, constantly feel like he is in that deficit. So good. I'm glad you made that point, Diana. Thank you. Well, Leslie says, it's super insensitive of Adam on yesterday's show to ask to talk to Sally privately right in front of Chelsea, especially after he had just shut out Chelsea. I did like the soapiness of it, though. Yeah, Adam definitely could have used a little more privacy with that conversation with Sally. Sue W. says, Adam's ego can't help but secretly love the cat fighting, even if he doesn't want either one. Except he does want Sally, despite himself. I hope both those feelings get bored and move on. Geez, is Adam really all that? Look around, girls. Well, Ambrini says, I like the cat fighting. Chelsea is annoying, though. Using Connor, just like other ladies have done. It's funny to watch Adam be uncomfortable, but actually, I really like Adam these days. Much better than his self-pity and I hate everyone days. Yeah. Superplex says, this 180-degree turn by Chelsea is not credible. Before she was sent to the sanitarium, she was dead set against any reunion with Adam. Oh, but Ellen responds, once you've been with Adam, you want more. Is that what it is? It might also very well be the allure of the thing you can't have. Nobody can really have Adam. Well, except for Sharon, maybe. I still get the feeling that if Sharon were the one that was asking Adam to get back together, he would be there in a snap. Gary says, Chloe needs to get fired. Chelsea needs to be put in a sanitarium for divas, and Sally should be forced to work from home since she is such a spying disruption at the office. Well, that's one way to resolve it all right there. Fire Chloe, Chelsea goes to the sanitarium, and Sally goes to work from home. Sue W. has an interesting perspective here saying, I think Chloe has been more justified in her attempts, yes, often unbecoming, to dissipate the business-destroying tsunami looming over Chelsea and Sally. Chloe had every right to clamp down on Sally, her employee, to bluntly spell out how things must be for Sally to retain her job, the job that Chloe and I guess Chelsea gave to her. Sensibly, Chloe probably should cut her losses and run at this point to who knows where. The competition? I'm so confused at the minute as to who is doing what, but more and more I'm hoping to see Sally tell the double C's to collectively shove it and strike out on her own. This juvenile girly stuff amongst them is all getting really annoying. I want to see Sally strike out on her own, too. I agree. I think that's the logical solution to all of this. But I think it's interesting that you're supporting Chloe and her telling Sally what it is she needs to do to retain her job, which is focus on her job. Honestly, also, I kind of felt the way Chelsea was listening to Sally's pitches, and she said, you know, Sally, we shouldn't have to sit here and listen to 20 of your pitches. You should pick the best 5 and give them to us. And I kind of was like, oh, you know, that's sort of, I kind of get where she's coming from there. It's like Sally's trying so hard. She's throwing everything at the wall, but it's almost like Sally wants to prove that Chelsea is not giving her a chance. But I thought that was really, an interesting scene, too, when they clamped down Sally's ideas for school uniforms. I mean, who even wears clothes to school these days? No one, that's who. Oh, well, how about that workplace dating poll? I asked you guys if workplace dating is a staple on soaps, does that make it okay in real life? How about this vote? 52% of you say no, it's not okay in real life. 48% of you say yes. That is so split. I'm really surprised. I don't know why, but I guess I thought that vote wouldn't be quite as close, but it is. Ellen says it's totally unrealistic to think that people are not going to find romantic partners at work. People spend the majority of their waking hours there in normal times. Sensible policies have to be in place about these relationships and the power to supervise, promote, give raises, fire, etc. Just ask me. I'm a very fake attorney. You're my favorite fake attorney, Ellen. Michelle voted yes because she met her husband of 20 years at work. Office romances are the best, Michelle says. However, we were co-workers, so not against policy. Nate and Elena, as well as Sally and Adam, would be a problem as they have supervisory roles over each other. Legal red flags with that, and most companies would have a written policy against such a thing. When things go south for Sally, she could slap a sexual harassment lawsuit on Adam. I don't see Elena doing that. Yeah, but you know what? I am more and more thinking that Nate might sue the hospital like we talked about last week, and someone had predicted last week, maybe it was you, that Nate might sue the hospital and need to use Imani's services for that, because I'm curious to know where that's all going with Nate and Elena. But how wonderful that you met your husband at the office. And yeah, I mean, I think it is almost like a different situation when you're co-workers as opposed to being in a supervisory role. That can get icky, and yeah, you're right. I mean, sexual harassment can be an issue, and the companies do not want to have their hand in that. But T. Nicole, who was recently married, said, I'm absolutely going to vote for workplace dating being okay in real life. I met my husband through work. So for that reason, I'm all for it. We met as summer interns at a larger company, and now we both work full-time at the same company and are married. Since our company is larger, we work in completely different areas, and our jobs do not overlap in any way. But I think it's all good as long as there is no obvious conflict of interest. More specifically, you or your partner do not report directly to each other. Dating while working for the same company has been nothing but great for me, as I found my now husband. Aw, that's awesome! I love it. Yeah, I think the dynamics, the power dynamics are what really matters there. Well, let's talk about Michael Baldwin and his wonderful, wonderful tribute show. Starting with Diana, who says, I loved the tribute to Christian Leblanc. It was great. I especially loved it because it was unexpected when I had watched it on Saturday. I was excited to post here about it, but I didn't want to spoil anything at the time. But I liked the clips that were chosen for the episode. The classic flashbacks are always fun to watch. Christian Leblanc has always been one of my favorite actors on the show. He was the reason that I kept tuning in every day. Regrettably, when he had left the show, I stopped watching for a while. I've always loved him and his character, and he is an excellent actor whose storylines have been compelling. Michael Baldwin was a great villain on the show. I was completely drawn into Christine's sexual harassment story, followed by his obsession with getting revenge on Christine. There was never a dull moment. I enjoyed the build-up in the storylines as they were slower paced, making the climax exciting. I was also compelled when Michael's character went to prison. His plan was to pretend that he was insane. I don't remember why, but it was likely so that he would be sent to a mental institution and possibly get out earlier. I was very disappointed when the storyline was dropped and his character was not seen again for many years. I was very happy when I heard of his return to the show. That's funny, Diana, because, again, you guys know Michael Baldwin's, like, my favorite character on the show, and all of the connections that you have with him were before I started watching. I think I didn't ever see him doing the wall tunneling and the sexual harassment, so when I started watching in 93, he was, I think, shortly after that, coming back from being in prison, and he was begging Christine to have his law license reinstated, and from there, there, I really got to experience mostly the ascent of Michael Baldwin. I didn't get to know the madman, but I got to witness him going from the town pariah all the way up to the district attorney, and I agree with you. He's one of my favorites, and I would just love to see more of him, and I hope that the retiring Michael from the DA role is Y&R finding a better way that they could incorporate him into the current stories with it in a new and different capacity. Sue W. says, Diana, on another note, I also thought that Christine looked so gorgeous on that show, and I got to thinking that I'm on board with your longtime dream of a Nick and Christine pairing. They would make a great and certainly organic couple. But oh yeah, Paul and Sharon. Yeah, I agree. Christine and Nick would be hot. And Christine always looks beautiful. She extra looked beautiful in some of those 90s flashbacks, though. She was giving, like, 90s nude lips. We loved that sort of brown nudish lip in the 90s, and she had her cute little sassy bob haircut. She looked so good in the flashbacks, and she would look so good with Nick. But, oh yeah, Paul. Gee, Daisy says, Paul. They still talk about him, so I don't see any reason why Doug Davidson isn't brought back as Paul. But for some reason unknown to me, they won't. Paul should have been right there to wish Michael well. It makes no sense. No kidding. Makes absolutely no sense that Paul would not have been included in that episode. Gosh, it's just, I think Doug Davidson talked out about the fact that he seemed to be getting no scripts, and they must not have liked it. And I guess we're not gonna see more Paul, unless maybe Y&R does have a shakeup. Yeah, I don't know. Well, on the topic of Michael Baldwin, I have a few last-minute predictions for 2022. Superplex has got to top my list here, predicting that Michael Baldwin will die in 2022. What? Superplex, you're blowing my mind. I mean, you had, like, this awesome long series of predictions, but I have to say, like, as soon as I saw Michael Baldwin will die, my head exploded. Why? I mean, it is ominous. It's a little ominous. It's one or two things. They're either finding a way to blend him into the show more, or they are finding a way to cut him out, and I don't know which it would be. If Michael Baldwin's death would be gut-wrenching. Especially since I would love to see more of him and more of Lauren. And I have to say, one of my predictions for 2022 is that Lauren buys the Chelsea, Chloe, Sally fashion business and puts Gloria in charge of it. How cool would that be? The Chelsea, Chloe, Sally fashion business, if they're all going to work together, should be under a fashion company, its own fashion company. It would probably be more interesting if they were competitors, but having them work together or being forced to work together by a situation at Fenmore's would be really great. And Gloria recently got the job as being the head of JCV. I could see Lauren rewarding her by giving her the task of overlooking these three ladies. I mean, can you imagine Sally and Gloria and Chloe and Chelsea working at the same place? Maybe it's more of a wish than a prediction. Margaret says, I'm getting the feeling that something will happen which will cause Tessa to fall into bed with Noah, and whoops, no need to adopt because Tessa gets pregnant. Yeah, that would certainly throw a wrench in all of the happiness for Mariah and Tessa. Now, next week, it does look like they are going to be getting some happiness. It looks like Tessa is proposing to Mariah. Of course, it could go any way. I haven't seen Monday's episode. I know Canadians have, but I decided I'm going to talk about that more next week. I was going to hold myself until I actually got to see more of it. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it seeming like everything's going to start going well for Tessa and Mariah, engaged to be married, getting the adoption process going, and then something happens. I just can't see Tessa. I just can't see her sleeping with Noah willingly, though. More predictions. Jamie says, I see a very dark Noah storyline playing out, which is exciting for my creepy villain story drama loving self. A well-written villain gives our core characters a chance to heroically shine. Jamie, ain't that the truth? A well-written villain gives our core characters a chance to heroically shine. Do we have a villain on the show right now? Because I don't see one. I do not see one, but I think it's interesting that you're predicting a very dark Noah, and I'm saying, oh gosh, I can't see Tessa falling into bed with Noah willingly. Oh, I hope that's not the case. Tina says, my 2022 predictions are that Adam and Sally will get together. Then Connor will make Adam feel guilty to go back to Chelsea. Meanwhile, Sally will be pregnant when Adam leaves her for Chelsea. Sally will sleep with Nick or Noah to try to pin the pregnancy on one of them. We haven't had a good pin the pregnancy in a while. It's a new party game, pin the pregnancy. Kidji predicts that Ashland has been faking his illness or will turn on Victoria to try to take everything from her. I kind of hope that's the case. I'm ready for that. And Y&R Viewer 123 predicts that Amanda will become pregnant and Devon will be very happy. Maybe they'll get married after that. You know, Y&R Viewer 123, I had that in my list of predictions too. I think this storyline for the custody battle is going to heat up, and then boom, right in the middle of it, Amanda's going to find that she's pregnant. That's what I think. Well, let's let Janice put this down sharply. Janice says, I am so tired of seeing Devon constantly whining and moping around about Dominic just because he babysat him for a few days. Now he expects to have shared/joint custody of him? Seriously. He signed a legal document months ago agreeing to be the donor for Abby and Chance's baby, and now he thinks he has full parental rights? I can see that he has a strong bond with him, but he certainly doesn't have a legal right to be his father. He already signed that away. He's not giving Chance a chance to bond with his son, considering what he just went through in Spain. Devon is constantly saying he fears for Dominic's safety and mental well-being. Why? What proof does he have that Abby and Chance are unfit parents, that Dom needs to be freed from that house of horrors? I used to really like Devon, but lately I can't stand seeing him on screen with his long face and his woe is me attitude. And for Amanda pushing him to take legal action, it's just ridiculous. Why don't they just have their own baby and leave Dominic alone? Yeah, I mean, I think you really, Janice, you summed it up. I mean, that's like the thing, that's the emotion right there. You said it all right there. Sue W adds, the once cool cat Devon has become all mealy-mouthed and waffly while agonizing over his rightful time with Dominic. Not a Devon we have known since, I don't know, he first appeared in Genoa City. Yeah, see, that's the only thing is why I gotta just give Brighton James some love. I can't give Devon any love. I don't agree with what he's doing. I've tried my best to put myself into what his headspace must be, but I don't have a whole lot of love to give to Devon, so I've got to give some to Brighton James. And I love that you mentioned, Sue W, that he's all mealy-mouthed and waffly, and Janice saying that he's got kind of a woe is me, and he's constantly moping around and whining, and Brighton's bringing all of that, you know. I mean, he if he's hesitant about this storyline, he's not necessarily showing it. He's just going in and portraying what he's imagining Devon is feeling, and it's coming through for me. I mean, he's mopey and whiny, and I mean, on some level, we're supposed to be feeling that. It's the only way to do it. Sherrod says, Devon, you seem so nice, but you aren't. You slept with your dad's wife. You wanted your sister severely punished for accidentally killing your wife and baby. You're sleeping and living with your wife's sister. You want your surrogate child that you signed a contract to have no rights to. You have friends that won't shut you out of the child's life, yet you still covet having more guaranteed ownership over something that is not yours. Not cool, Devon. Not cool. Oh my gosh, you guys are killing me with these awesome, like, zingers. You are filleting Devon Hamilton. Absolutely filleting him. I'm gonna let Superplex slap him down on the grill by saying, you already have a role in Dominic's life, Devon. Abby and Chance are not trying to shut the door. What you fail to realize is that you are not making it easier to raise Dominic. You are doing the opposite by throwing a monkey wrench into their roles as parents. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's undermining them at the end of the day. And Superplex also says, you, Devon, are not doing right for Dominic. He already has a mother and a father looking for his best interests. What you are doing is for your own interest. You are needlessly inserting yourself into a situation that does not require your presence. Oh, boom. See, I couldn't do it any better than you guys are doing it. So I just decide each week I'm going to let the comments take care of this. I'm gonna let the commenters take care of Devon. I don't have to. Gary says, good for Abby in seeing Devon arriving with his lawyer to call for Chance before allowing Devon to speak to her. Yeah, I agree. This is very smart on Abby's part. She definitely felt unsure. She felt unsafe. She knew something was wrong here. She got like, you know, a bad vibe in the force, because it's interesting. Amanda's there. She could have interpreted it as with his girlfriend, but Abby knows darn well that she's a lawyer, and she got that vibe the moment she opened the door, and she was right to call Chance. I'm glad she did that, and it created just this awkward waiting that I really enjoyed, just for the sheer drama of it. Oh, but Margaret says, if every parent was seen as unfit because they were going through a rough time emotionally, there would be no fit parents left on earth. Are Abby and Chance loving parents? Do they have Dominic's best interest at heart? That would be a yes. Devon needs to get a grip. It's his attitude and the ensuing custody case that will rip everyone's lives apart, including Dominic's. Yeah, it's the custody case that's going to cause the drama and the trauma far more than anything Chance is going through, which is totally mild. Ellen says, why did Sharon bother going to school to become a clinical social worker if she's going to spend all of her time making lattes? Can she at least see clients in the afternoons in her attached office while someone else cleans the espresso machine? Yeah, I loved that Abby said to Chance this week, do you want to talk to somebody, get some therapy, maybe talk to Sharon? And I love the idea. Ellen, this is great. Let's convert that little, that back room where Sharon keeps the stock, you know, the extra plastic cups, and occasionally she comes, there must be an oven back there, because occasionally she comes through the door with the fresh pastries. Let's just convert that storage room into Sharon's therapy office. It can still have the little cutout of the coffee cup shape on the door, but that's just, you know, we'll put a little, like, the doctor is in sign underneath it. For 2022, Y&R needs to bite the bullet and do that. Give Sharon a little office. You're right. They went to the trouble of giving her this degree. Let's use it. These people need it. T. Nicole says, I'm interested to see Mariah's reaction to Devon wanting custody of Dominic. Maybe Mariah will be on Abby's side if this ever goes to court, and she will testify on Abby and Chance's benefit. Great comment, T. Nicole, because yes, again, I'm sort of saving talking about Mariah until next week, because I know that's going to be a bigger week for her. But yeah, Mariah Abby sat down and talked to Mariah and Tessa, and it was before Devon had gotten there. So Abby was just sort of telling Mariah, I think Devon's sort of asking for more. And Mariah told Tessa that she is thinking about talking to Devon about it. So it will be interesting to see that conversation. I also like that you're asking, will Mariah be compelled to testify in court? And if so, on what side would it be? I wonder, though, I mean, speaking of Mariah and Tessa's proposal that's going on next week, and if it's Monday, you guys probably already all know how this goes down, but I wonder if the fact that Mariah has now received this information about Dominic and Devon, if that will affect her ability to move forward with Tessa. Sherrod says, I guess we're not going to see Tessa and Mariah move into the apartment, even though we got to see all the other tenants move in, like Ray, Lola, Kyle, and Elena. Again, the inequality of this show to them. So, for the record, I truly do not see them getting to adopt a baby or a child or anything else for this couple. Oh, Sherrod, so you don't, again, you probably already know this, whether or not, again, I don't watch, if you're in Canada, you see the shows a day ahead, and I don't. But we do have the preview from the U.S. show on Friday that Tessa is proposing to Mariah. I mean, Tessa has posed this idea before, and Mariah has skated over it. So I don't know for sure that Mariah would agree to it, and I don't know for sure that Mariah is not going to somehow use the situation with Dominic and Abby and Devon to kind of let her head be pulled out of what the task at hand is between her and Tessa and their goals for adoption. So you're probably right that it's not a slam dunk happy ending for those two. Maybe I'm just maybe I'm just sort of wishful thinking for them. Well, Jamie says, Nick's surprise birthday party at Crimson Lights made my week. The 90s references in combination with Sharon giving Nick his once lost, now vintage favorite shirt was perfection. Joshua Morrow portrays Nick so well that I could never accept a recast at this point. He's a true legacy character. Plus, he gives us a Nick who is just so dang adorable, sexy, and hilarious that we forgive his missteps, keep faithfully tuning in. Also, I'm feeling compelled to say I miss the heck out of Schick. Yes, little scenes like this that, don't even have to amount to much. I miss Schick too. But just the fact that we had this birthday party and we just got this sense of family and the sense of togetherness was so comfortable for me that, I loved it and I feel satisfied by it. I felt full of my meal, like I got a good meal out of Nick's birthday party. It's just so comfortable and so fun, and I really, really love that episode, and I really agree. I'm at an all-time high with my Nick love. But here's a little something to end on from Gary, who says, something that has plagued me for decades upon decades is the soap opera or theatrical present. Who among you has ever received a wrapped gift with a pretty bow on top that you never have to untie, even though the ribbon has been crafted from the bottom of the box? No one ever. I think it is some kind of airtime trick so the audience doesn't become bored by the time it might take to normally unwrap a present, but I see it as the most glaring, unreal, dumb thing in the world. Whenever a soap opera boxed gift is put in the arms of someone else, the first thing I notice is how the ribbon on the box and the ribbon on the box top are not connected. A fake and a fraud. Not worth the time it supposedly saves, prop department. Yeah, Gary, you're so right. How dare they give us fake presents? I'll tell you, if Y&R isn't careful, they're gonna make us think this whole show is fake. That's funny. I noticed it too. Of course. We're all looking at the box. It's like, yeah. Those kind of gift boxes have become more popular, but never with the bow fully attached. I don't think I've ever had a box with the bow pre-attached. That's definitely a soap box. Get it? A soap box. Oh. That is all the zingers I've got in me for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Go to yrchat.com to leave your comments for the week, your comments on the poll. Predictions are closed. Hope you got them in, because we're not going to open that up until 2023. But there's some good ones there if you want to go read them. It's certainly worth taking a look, and we'll pop them back open a year from now. Okay, everybody, I hope that you have a really, really good week and that you come back next Sunday to chat with me about the show. I love you! Bye!